Welcome back to MediaBistro.com's Media Beat. I'm Kevin Alaka, the editor of TVNewser, and we're joined today by Alan Murray, the deputy managing editor of the Wall Street Journal and executive editor online. Now, Alan spent 3 years between stints at the Wall Street Journal at CNBC.
I did.
When you look at what's going on in the television business news, what do you think works and what doesn't work?
Well, first of all, I've got to probe the premise of your question, because you asked me what's happening in business news. You know, a lot of what's happening on cable television this day doesn't really strike me as news. It strikes me much more as entertainment. And I think one of the trends over the last decade or so has been more and more entertainment, less and less news. Some of it's very good at entertainment. I mean, you watch a guy like Jim Cramer on CNBC, or a lot of people find Glenn Beck on Fox entertaining, but it really is. It really isn't news in the sense that I was brought up to think about news. When I think about news journalism, I think about reporters who are paid to go out and find the truth. They don't have another mission. They don't have a particular axe to grind. They're human beings, so they have their own biases. But they are trained to try and get over those biases and find the truth. That kind of reporting I find happening less and less on television.
You see that even more pronounced on the cable news, the cable news side of things, and not as much perhaps on the business networks. But do you think that that's happening more and more over there?
It's happening on the business networks as well. You're right. There's more of a focus on news and information on the business networks than on the other so-called news networks, but it's happening across the board.
There have been a number of reporters that have gone from the Wall Street Journal to CNBC. Kate Kelly recently, and one of your colleagues, Nick Dugan, recently joined as the managing editor. The financial incentives aside, let's put that aside, what do you think makes that kind of a move from newspaper to television attractive?
Well, you put the big one aside.
Well, I know, but that's obviously going to be part of it.
There's finance, there's the financial incentives there. I mean, look, there is, it's, first of all, my 3 years in television, I had a great time. It was really fun doing it. I hosted a nightly cable news show for CNBC. We got to talk to all kinds of interesting people. It was a great conversation every night. It's a lot of fun. And you know, some people also get an ego boost from, it's much more personal than writing a story. You know, you write a story, you get to put your byline on it, but people don't really read bylines. It's a story. When you're on TV, it's very much about you. I mean, all you would have to do is read my email every night when I was doing that show to realize that television is a dramatically more personal medium than newspapers, and some people like that. So.
Dow Jones has a partnership with CNBC since 1997.
Yeah.
And how do you think that that's benefited those two organizations?
Well, these days it doesn't benefit either of them much at all. They don't use us that much. Ever since the merger with News Corp, they haven't used us that much. So we don't really do that much together. I think it provides them a steady flow of news. You know, even though the business networks are more focused on news and information, they don't do a lot of what I would consider hard reporting. Their reporting staff really isn't very big, and a lot of what they do is sort of look at the morning newspaper and see what's in there and then try and turn it into a package. So their partnership with us has given them a steady stream of real news and information that they can use in their programming. That's probably the biggest thing.
You mentioned the merger with News Corp and how that has changed things. Do you think that when this arrangement is over in 2012, that's going to continue again?
With CNBC?
Yeah.
No.
Do you think that we will eventually see a Wall Street Journal, the network?
Well, that's an interesting question. Look, I mean, if you look at the video we're providing over our website, I mean, we're now doing probably 3 or 4 hours a day of video between our live video and our packages. In a world where content is distributed so easily over the internet, even leaving the cable agreements aside, you probably would see a Wall Street Journal network. We're moving towards a Wall Street Journal network online anyway. So, but I think you're asking me a different question.
Yeah.
You're asking me the question of, are the Wall Street Journal and the Fox Business Network going to somehow mash up?
Exactly.
I think there's probably only one person who could answer that question for you, and he's not here today.
All right. One last question, totally unrelated. I read in your bio that your wife is a former special advisor to the president for chemical weapons.
Yeah, she's into weapons of mass destruction.
Does that ever worry you?
Yeah, it's a little scary.
Yeah.
It's a little scary being married to someone who's into weapons of mass destruction, but she's very good at it.
All right, Alan, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. This has been MediaBistro.com's Media Beat with Alan Murray, the Deputy Managing Editor and Executive Editor online of the Wall Street Journal.